if you had to sell someone on what your trucks bring to the table that they may be missing from other trucks, how do you sell someone on that? Bigspin Podcast. I am Chris, and I am here with a dude who, since 2015, so pretty much the last decade, in your own words, you've been serving fresh fingerboards one ply at a time, based out of Orange County, California. I am here with Sydney, Deli Decks. What's up, dude?
That's me. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Yo, Sydney, give us some background on where we are right now.
So we are at Deli HQ, I guess.
Deli
which
HQ.
is a ping pong table in my garage, which is a little hotter than I would hope right now, but it's all
We're
good.
making it work.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, we're experiencing a heat wave in California. And what is it? It's supposed to be like 105 today, right?
Dude, I don't know. It's been so hot. I've been just inside for the last week or so.
And so, being that this is where you package everything and stuff, do you just spend a lot of time in the garage even when it's this hot?
Yeah. I'm really into, I like to sauna a lot at the gym, so it's like
Really?
I get extra sauna and I'm working. It's cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. Earlier when you were talking about being out here in your chonies, that's definitely a good one.
In my underwear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, I was saying earlier that usually work looks like me sitting behind my computer there, just in my underwear packing orders. So
I like that. There you go. Packing orders in the chonies. And so, we're probably going to get into this in the pod, but Deli's just you, right?
yeah,
Contrary to popular belief, you don't have a whole Amazon team behind you that can ship trucks next day?
I do not. I wish I did. That would be really cool. But the most that I get is my parents help me out when it gets really, really busy. So I'm super thankful for that. But
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So obviously I want to talk about all things Deli, obviously the decks, the wheels, the trucks. But first, just like every good story, I want to start at the beginning, if that's cool with you.
yeah, sounds
All
great.
right. Sounds good. Sydney, where are you from?
I'm from Southern California. Yeah.
Okay. Born and raised Southern California?
Yeah, I was born in Santa Monica, and we lived in Sherman Oaks until about 2010.
Okay.
And we moved to Irvine.
Okay. So LA to Orange County?
Yep.
I like that. I like that. Any siblings? I know obviously parents, but siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger sister. She's still in college. She goes to USC.
Oh, nice. And you actually just got back from college.
I did. Yeah.
Dude. Okay. That would explain the big gap
Yep.
of like, who's this Deli guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people recently, like even with the drop of the trucks and stuff like that, a lot of people are like, oh, like who is this dude?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people reach out after you came to Sunday sessions and they were just like, dude, like, I didn't even know he was local. I didn't even know he was around here.
Yeah, for sure. I have been rogue for the last 4 years, kind of, but it was in upstate New York, cold.
Yeah.
But just schooling
Yeah.
and swimming and
Schooling.
running deli.
I like that. Okay. When you were younger, what kind of hobbies were you into? Like school age?
So back in first grade, my mom got me my first skateboard.
Oh, nice.
And that was kind of I was really into skateboarding. You know, as much as you can be in first grade or whatever.
Right.
But it was that, and then always making things, collecting coins. Yeah,
Collecting coins.
that was
okay.
a cool one. I was into that. Swimming. But yeah,
Okay. Well, you didn't mention that. Did you swim in college?
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. When it came to when it came to skateboarding, were you always into like those action sports? Like, 'cause I know you started in first grade, but did that kind of carry on into like your later teen years? Like, how serious were you with the skateboard?
Not really at all. So not really at all past middle school.
Okay.
So I got a skateboard. I was really into it. Irvine's a great place to, cruise around, especially when you're in middle school or first grade or elementary
Right.
school. I broke my arm in about 6th grade.
Yeah.
And swimming and broken bones, not a
Don't
good
mix.
match. No.
Wait, how'd you break your arm? Swimming?
No, skateboarding.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I thought you broke your arm swimming. I was like, bro.
Yeah, no. Swimming isn't, you don't really get too injured.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
okay. So you were skateboarding, broke your arm. How does that happen? Were you doing something gnarly, or was it hit a pebble or something
Dude,
like
I was
that?
doing something stupid. My buddy was a lot better than I was. You know, I was just cruise around.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to go down it was like a pretty large step, like kind of like a stadium seating,
Okay.
or something like that. And I just did not do it right, and just
Wow.
biffed it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Talk to me though about the first, because I know your first experience with skateboarding was in first grade, but what was that first experience like? Did you see like a poster? Like, was it a video game, or what kind of made you in first grade say, "Hey, I want to skateboard"?
You know, I don't really know. I recall my mom came home with a skateboard one day, and it was this. I think it was a birdhouse complete that she got from like Sports Authority or something like that.
Heck yeah.
And I was really stoked on it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but
Right.
my grandma lived in Irvine at the time. We were still in LA,
Yeah.
but we would come and visit her. And in her neighborhood, there were a lot of like really cool hills.
Yeah.
So just I'd hill bomb and kind of learn to jump off when I was going too fast, and that's kind of
That's
how
how it
that
starts.
started.
Heck yeah. Do you remember what graphic it was?
Oh.
My first skateboard was a birdhouse. I love that.
Yeah, it was a cool board. It was like a gray metallic dip with like the
Ooh.
red box, like kind of birdhouse thing.
That iconic, like little boxy. Oh, look, almost like that slush shirt.
Yeah,
Little
exactly.
box in the middle. There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, I like that. What are some of your? Who was like some of your go-to pro skaters back in the day?
Oh, I was not into it in a capacity where I'd be watching. I didn't really know a whole lot about that kind of culture.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, it was definitely really laid back, just cruising.
Just cruising around.
Yeah, just hanging out with friends and cruising the neighborhood.
So at no point was it ever like I'm trying to go pro with this.
Absolutely not. It was like, it'd be really cool if I could ollie up that curb, like that.
There you go.
That was the extent of it.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Did you ever play the original Tony Hawk games at all? Any game or anything like that?
Not the Tony Hawk game.
Really?
Yeah, I used to be into Halo, Call of Duty.
The
Maybe
first-person shooters?
yeah, a little
I like that.
Fortnite here and there, but lately I've stopped, and I feel like it's a good thing that I have because I just sit in front of my computer
The
for
games will
hours.
suck you in super quick.
Yeah.
I like that. So kind of bridging the gap now between fingerboarding and skateboarding. Do you think that it's possible for someone to fully love and appreciate fingerboarding if skateboarding was never really something they were into when they were younger?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you expand on that, though? And the reason I ask, and I ask everyone, is because it seems that there's some people that kind of have the notion that if you skateboarded in the past, like you're more... maybe like superior is the word to maybe someone who didn't fingerboard, but what would you say to someone who doesn't think that, that you can fully appreciate fingerboarding if you never skateboarded?
I think that fingerboarding in general, like as a hobby, is very welcoming and inviting in terms of being kind of like user friendly.
Right.
I mean, you could be at work, you could be trying to kill time fingerboarding. I remember for me, it was like I'd be at swim meets fingerboarding, downtime, couple hours between events,
Yeah.
fingerboard.
Okay.
Yeah. But
like that.
I like how it's just, pick up and go. It's in your pocket. It's cool.
It's carried around with you.
Yeah.
What was your first experience with fingerboarding?
I remember wanting to get it. I had a buddy in middle school who was, a lot more into skateboarding in terms of, actually doing tricks and trying to improve than I was. And he got a tech deck. And this was probably 5th grade or so. And I remember really wanting a tech deck for like 2 weeks. And then, we were at a trip to Target and I got a tech deck. And I remember the first time that I kind of broke it out was on the blacktop at lunchtime in like 5th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it occur to you early on that you were essentially that you could do tricks on them like an actual skateboard?
Yeah, for sure. He was doing tricks and, he'd jump up in 50-50 on like staplers and such.
Oh yeah.
And I was still at the point where, I'm riding around with 3 fingers trying to learn how to ollie. Yeah.
I like that. Early on, I think I was more of the, and not just me. Maybe it was just my school, or maybe it was just my area. But it was more of like a trail, almost like trading cards. Like you just got them to trade.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me that you could like do tricks.
That's the awesome thing about it. It's it's functional, but at the same time, there's this like whole collector background, and
Yeah.
all these awesome companies make really cool stuff. It's its own world, and it's great.
Wait a second, hold that thought. We'll be back to the pod in just 1 second. Because this official pause moment has been brought to you by LC Boards. It doesn't matter if you're a pro fingerboarder or just new to fingerboarding, nobody wants to overpay for fingerboard gear. And that's where LC Boards got you covered. High quality fingerboard gear at a fraction of the cost. So if you're trying to upgrade your fingerboard gear, but you're boarding on a budget, check out lcboards.com right now and use the code on screen for 10% off your next order. And back to the pod.
Tell me about your first pro fingerboard setup, because obviously that's like a world of difference from going from a tech deck to a pro board. Tell me about your first pro fingerboard setup.
So I don't know about pro, but I remember I got the tech deck and I loved it. And then I got I think it was a Pro Wood Complete on Amazon. I'm not sure if that guy's still making stuff, but it was like a Pro Wood, some kind of Buddha graphic.
Okay. Wooden fingerboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Metal truck, CNC wheels.
Yep.
Like that. Okay. Do you recall when you first experienced like what some would consider like a more like pro setup, like really high end, really expensive setup? What was that like for you? And what was that setup, if you remember?
I don't remember what the first deck was, but I do know that I was riding like a 32 millimeter deck with 29 millimeter BRTs, and I think it was flat face. They're like some salmon cream cheese colorway or something like that. I love that board. That was a cool board.
Okay. All right. And then obviously you've been, Deli's been since what, 2015? Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine that you fingerboarded before you started the company, right? So if Deli started 2015, when do you think you started actually like fingerboarding seriously?
It was quick. I want to say it was maybe 2014, and then 2015 is when I first started pressing decks.
Okay. So it was relatively quick.
Yeah, it was fast. We had tech decks and Pro Wood or whatever, and we kind of stumbled on, the more premium companies, Flat Face, etc. And I was like, these are expensive. These are really expensive.
Really?
When you're in 5th grade, you don't have,
Yeah.
$40 or whatever to drop on a deck. So it's like, we'll make our own.
Yeah. That's sick. That's sick. I mean, as long as you've been in the community, talk to me about the community when you first started versus now, a whole like 15 years later.
Yeah. I remember we used to go to these events. I think it was called Battle of the Beast, hosted by Chris at Beast Pants.
Yeah.
And he had this little, I'm not sure if it was his, but he had this like little warehouse in Pomona, and it was a great time. We'd go out and go to events, and it was very grassroots.
Yeah.
Whereas today it's kind of a little bit more refined, I think. But then it was, everyone's making their own stuff and showing up with their deck or their obstacles.
Yeah. I like that. I've had other people on the pod that have talked about the old Beast Pans events. I wish you'd bring those back. That'd be so sick.
So fun.
Dude, we need more Beast Pants events. Chris, if you're watching, we need those. We need those to come back.
Speaking of Beast Pants, I was just able, his splits, I try, but I can't, it's just always so fast.
Yeah.
And I just was able to get a new one from someone in a trade.
Really?
So I'm super stoked. It's getting here on Monday. And I think
Which one was it?
it's the pants, the like red to black fade.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. It's a
Heck yeah.
Rapid 33, and I'm just Monday.
Dude, that's so sick. And the Beast Pants drops just go so fast.
I know.
Dude is a beast. I love it. Shout out Beast Pants. We need to get him on the pod. Just to paint a picture of when you started fingerboarding, just to give everyone like a basis for who were some of those like top companies when you first started fingerboarding.
Oh, it was. I loved flat face wheels. It's been a long time since I've had a set. I should get another set. But flat face, Black River. I remember wanting Y trucks really, really bad.
Okay.
Cowply.
Shout out John. He was just out here recently.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the event
for the slush event.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about transitioning from you just fingerboarding to now you kind of decided, okay, we really need to So now we're transitioning from you just fingerboarding to wanting to start your own company. So Deli started in 2015, and you mentioned that it started pretty close to you just starting fingerboarding, right? What was it that kind of clicked in your mind and said, like, I need to do my own company? Was it just that everything else was expensive, or did you always have that creative side to you that you kind of knew, okay, I want to do something on my own?
I've always been, making little trinkets and stuff. I remember I used to make little mini teeny crossbows out of toothpicks and,
Really?
and rubber bands, and the arrows would be toothpicks.
Yeah.
So I had that, creative kind of want to put things together, and that combined with, a deck is $45. I was just, why don't I start pressing? I remember the first deck I ever made. I got a vise. I got two pieces it was like a 2x4. And veneer, and it was a flat deck. I pressed it with two pieces of a 2x4,
Really?
and I just hand sanded it. And, I'm sitting there at sandpaper on the ground for an hour or 2 hours, just hand sanding it. And that was the very first deck that I ever pressed.
Dude, the flat deck sounds crazy.
Yeah, it was not great, but it was I'd made a deck. It was cool.
Yeah, heck yeah. Okay, and then so at this point when we're starting, Deli Decks 2015, the decks came first, right? Is what it sounds like, because now you kind of encompass pretty much everything, but starting out it was just decks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the 2x4 first deck, right? Talk to me about like the first time that you started, like your experience with molds and stuff like that. Did you go the 3D printed molds offline? Did you do the Bondo molds, or what was that first mold like?
In fact, it's right up over there on that shelf over
Really?
there. Yeah, it's
Gotta check that out after.
Yeah, but it was an NFB mold.
Okay.
Yeah,
You just went all in.
Yeah, it was a metal mold. It was an NFB mold. I remember
Those are expensive. You just went in.
It was like $250 or something. I
Yeah.
had some money saved up, and I figured, instead of buying a bunch of decks, I'll just get a mold.
Yeah, just make a bunch of decks. Was it your own specs and stuff like that, or did it just kind of just come how it was?
It was my own specs, and I remember very vividly. I kept going back and forth with Jim, like change this, change that. Like, can I have? And I felt bad, but I was back and forth so many times to the point where I just annoyed him so bad.
Who's Jim? Is that who you bought it from?
Oh, so Jim is the guy at NFB Molds.
Okay. For some
makes them.
context.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so you're just back and forth.
Yeah.
But in the end, it came out how you wanted it.
It did, but I was, imagine an annoying fifth grader who you're going back and forth with 12 times over email. It's not
That's
fun.
wild. So just to paint a picture, when you started Deli, how old were you? Or like what grade are you in? You being fifth grade, sixth grade, or?
Fifth grade, I don't know, what does that put you, like 11 or 12?
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know.
Maybe. We'll have to fact check that.
Yeah, I can't do math.
Yeah. Same. When it comes to making like your first boards, I noticed that when I did a deep dive on the Instagram, the first time that you mentioned the boards, you mentioned that they were $15 decks, and a lot of them looked hand painted.
They were.
They were hand painted.
They were hand painted. I would hit them with spray paint, and then I had a little paint pen that I would draw
paint
it
pen?
on with. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. How many, I mean, I know it's been so long, but how many would you say of those $15 decks made it out into the public? Like, were you just slinging boards left and right?
Dude,
Or what was the perception on that? Or what was that like?
It was not easy selling decks, especially at 15.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have no idea how many of them are still or ended up making it out there. I don't know.
Not sure.
No. If I had to take a very rough estimate, maybe like 3-4 dozen, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you have a website at all? Or, I mean, you strike me as the person who's like going to just go all in. You went with the metal mold from the jump. Did you have a site, or was it just slinging them at events and stuff like that?
I initially was selling them through DMs, and then I started a Big Cartel site.
Okay.
Yeah, and for about maybe the first 5 years or so, it was the Big Cartel site that was pushing stuff out.
Okay. Talk to me about the name Deli Decks. Where does that come from?
So this friend of mine that kind of got me into fingerboarding,
Yeah.
there was this girl he liked in middle school, and he would text her this weird thing. It was like Hip Deli or something. I don't really understand what it was.
Okay.
But I liked, that was kind of deli. It got me thinking about it. And then, it just made sense. It's kind of like a sandwich. It's a ply sandwich. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it that way, I like that. Okay. Little sandwich deck.
Yep.
I like that. Were there any other names like in the running that you can recall, or was it always just no name and then all of a sudden it was Deli Decks?
It's been Deli Decks from the beginning of making fingerboards.
Okay, I like that. It seems like more so now, I think it's kind of eased up, but especially with talking to people who have been doing this for years, it seems like when they first started a couple of years ago, there wasn't too much information available, especially online, like how we have the internet now, where you can just Google whatever. But talk to me about your experience with the whole trial and error thing, right? Because did you have other companies that you kind of leaned on for advice on how to get it right, how to make boards, and like who kind of showed you the ropes, if anyone?
No one in particular comes to mind. I do remember scouring YouTube for how to make fingerboard decks, and there were some really cool videos out there at the time. There was I'm blanking on what the company is, but there was this one that was really informative, and that's kind of what.
It's kind of what helped you out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then your decks are all made in house.
They were. So now, no.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you have them like pressed and then sent over, or when did that change over?
So that changed over a few months ago. I take that back. I haven't really been able to normally press decks since I left for college.
Well, yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I would, the way that it would work, like my sophomore and junior year, is that I would press during the summer, just press and press and press, and shape them and drill them and all of that. And I would bring back like a couple bags of decks, and that would be my stock. And I'd finish them off and apply graphics or whatever from my dorm room, and then. Once I kind of started thinking about doing other stuff like trucks and wheels and such, I wasn't really pressing anymore. So there was a little period there where I kind of wasn't really selling any decks or anything for that matter. But I recently, I want to say like 4 or 5 months ago, sent my molds off to Mallory at Unique. She does such an awesome job.
Shout out Mallory.
Yeah,
she's killing it right now.
Yeah, she's her craftsmanship is just it's wild. She's so experienced. And
well, you can tell just if you haven't used a Unique deck, the moment you try it, you're like, oh, this person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean her rounding, her counter. I mean she has
everything.
The special bit that she just hits it once, but so on point, like so accurate.
Okay, that's sick.
But yeah, she does the kind of deck heavy lifting, which I'm very thankful for that because that gives me time to work on other stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, but how you mentioned that you were doing them out of the dorm room for a while. That's wild.
Yeah, it was brutal. And it's snowing, it's cold.
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember there were times.
Well, yeah, because you were like super upstate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
About I want to say a little over an hour east of Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much Canada.
Yeah.
And it's cold and it's snowy. So there were days that I would, be off to the bathroom lacquering decks in the shower, which probably I shouldn't have been doing. But
yeah.
Gotta make it work.
Gotta make it work. I like that. Okay. Jumping ahead a little bit, I know that the wheels came slightly before the plastic decks, or not plastic. What are they? Poly?
I mean, they're for lack of a better term, they're plastic, but they're polycarbonate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very
forgive me if I refer to them as plastic decks.
All good.
I don't mess up the name too much. But it seems like the wheels came slightly before the poly decks.
Yeah.
And but talk to me about the poly decks. So are those like just injection mold decks, or what? Like, what was the thought process to say like, I'm gonna not necessarily take a step back, because I've heard that argument even when Dynamic dropped theirs, people were like, why would I go from a wooden board to essentially taking a step back, or at least it's perceived that way. Yeah. But talk to me about your mindset of deciding to do the poly decks.
So they are molded, yeah.
Okay.
So for me, just changing it up, something new. I kind of figured out how to, get all the colors and source the materials. And that was just a lot more friendly for the setup that I had at that time, like not able to really drill or press or do any of that. So I'm thinking that, if there's some way that I could make a product that's kind of new and is still fun and, it's something I could throw together with a little bit less, heavy machinery in my dorm room. Why not?
Okay. And are these, so when you talk about sourcing the materials and stuff, are these boards that you're actually like injecting molding yourself, or are these like offsite?
Oh yeah, no, they're not. The equipment for that is it's
insane.
It's heavy
Okay.
duty.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
I was trying to picture you in the dorm with
no.
injective. I'm like, whoa, this is okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that. Let's talk about the wheels. Okay. It looks like the first mention of wheels on your page was July 2020. Okay. That's what it seems like the first post was. Give me the backstory. Like why wheels? Was it always part of the plan to just kind of go all in and eventually get there? Or what was the thought process like when you said, okay, I want to get some wheels going?
I don't know if it was like kind of just wanting to tinker or wanting to figure things out. I just wanted to make something. That was basically all it boiled down to. Wheels seemed fun. Let's do it.
Okay. And are these plastic wheels, urethane wheels, or what are we talking?
So there have since, did you say it was 2020?
Right.
Since 2020, I've gone through a couple different materials.
Okay.
I started with, I think it was some kind of like acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
It was the swirls.
Right.
So like,
yeah, the first pair was like a teal and white.
yeah, exactly. And then I moved through different kinds of urethanes until the point now where, it's urethane. Just
Straight up urethane.
Yeah, urethane that, I'm mixing, I'm dyeing. I have a little pressure pot back there that I use to pressurize all the bubbles out so you don't get any bubbles in your wheels. But
Wait, so you're making the wheels here?
yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. So we're making the wheels here. Yeah, when I saw the pot, I'm like, yo, homie's out here
Yeah.
full on urethane in his garage. I like that.
Yep.
Okay. Any chance that we would see any recycled wheels from Deli in the future? Is that something you're thinking about?
I like the idea, but punching holes out of skateboard wheels seems kind of like I'd have some supply issues there. I mean, I know that there's a lot of used skateboard wheels, but it's not something that I've really considered. And honestly, dealing with bearing lock that way, I know it's a softer material, and guys have got it down. But I mean, it's seems like a little bit of a headache to me. I mean, bless the guys that do it; they look fantastic, but it's just not for me.
I like that. Okay. Okay, so I think everyone listening is waiting for this portion of the interview. Obviously, everyone wants to know about Trux, right? I posted last night if anyone had any questions for you, and almost all the questions that came in were about the Trux, right? Talk to me about the reasoning behind the play on Trux, right? Was that just clever on your end, or was that always going to be the name for them? Because you spell them, just so if you can't, if you haven't seen it, Trux, right? Was that just like a play on words, or was that always going to be the name, or what? Where did the name come from?
I don't really know. I think I don't know if the skateboarding brand Trux does it that way, but I know what it is, Crux.
Yeah.
And it looked good.
Okay.
Typed out to me. I mean, that's really it.
That's really it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was also about. It seems like a very competitive aspect, or a very full. Competitive isn't the right word. Full aspect. Where there are these two brands that make killer stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
More than two brands. There are a lot of guys that make killer stuff. So it's like, just how do I
Set yourself apart.
differentiate just a little bit.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what I think a lot of people, especially in like the questions that we got, a lot of people are kind of wondering in regards to with so many with essentially like with trucks being that one thing in fingerboarding that you don't really see too much of, right? And I think maybe that's because of like maybe manufacturing and stuff like that or what goes into it. But at what point did you decide? Because at this point you already decided you were doing boards, killed it with the boards. You already decided you were doing wheels, killed it with the wheels. So when did you decide, or what kind of crossed your mind that said like, I'm gonna do trucks now?
It just seemed like the next thing.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I just wanted to make something cool.
Right.
Yeah.
A misconception that I think a lot of people kind of deal with when new trucks hit the market is that these are, and not specifically your trucks, but just trucks in general, is that they're just like mass-produced, like generic trucks, and someone slaps the logo on them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what your trucks are, or are these fully your specs, like your, because I noticed on the package it talks about like design, assembled, stuff like that in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So are these fully custom, not just like mass-produced trucks?
These are 100% designed by me.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no clue.
Okay. Yeah, there's not, as much as now there's tutorials for like definitely decks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe wheels, but I don't think there's any tutorials online about how to make fingerboard trucks.
Yeah, you're not going to find
You're
anything
not
on
out there-
YouTube.
Yeah, pouring the material in your backyard, molten material.
Yeah.
Okay. The first time that you mentioned trucks on your page was January of this year, right? And behind the scenes, it seems like it would take more time. So from when you posted it in January, were these already in the works for 6 months to a year prior, or what did that kind of look like? Because I know you said you had no idea. So what were like those early prototypes like?
In fact, I in that little bin over there, I have the very first kind of a sample set that I got back, and we'll look at them later,
Yeah,
but you'd
yeah.
see the geometry is totally out of whack.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Could you?
No, no. So we're talking about the first trucks, right? I was asking you in regards to like you posted January 2024 that the trucks were going to be coming soon. So how long before that were these kind of like? What was that process like leading up to January?
Yeah. So from the point of like having the idea to the point of being fully executed, it was like 2.5 years.
Okay,
Yeah. So it was a
definitely a
while in
process.
the making. Yeah, for sure.
I like that. Okay, in your opinion, what makes a good fingerboard truck?
Geometry.
Just getting the geometry right.
Geometry and the quality of, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to choose the right materials. You have to, use dependable suppliers.
Yeah.
There's a whole, it's just like any other product, you just got to get everything right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. With companies like that are doing trucks, more notably like Black River and Dynamic, who've essentially built like their entire brands for around known for having like super high quality professional trucks. Do you feel any sort of like friendly competition or pressure to make sure that trucks are and when I say trucks, I'm talking about your trucks, as like high quality as possible, if not higher? Like, do you feel that pressure at all, or are you just kind of more laid back about it?
I don't think, I definitely do feel like I need to put out the highest stuff that I personally can.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a pressure thing. I am definitely, I'm a competitive swimmer for most of my life, so I'm definitely competitive, but, all these creators make such great stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like what it boils down to is just, personally wanting to get it right and put my best foot forward and just make them the best that I personally can.
I like that.
Yeah.
We've talked to Black River on this pod, and we talked about how the silhouette of Black River trucks are very close to independent trucks. I've had Scott on. We've talked about how Dynamics are very close to the silhouette of like venture trucks. Would you say that there's any specific brand of skate trucks that you kind of took inspiration from? Or was this just like, trial and error till you kind of found something that looked cool?
I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a single truck that inspired the design. I do really like the front of indies and kind of like the flatter, you know, with a little bit of rounding at the top. So I drew from that for my design, but in terms of just overall shape, I just tried to make it look as best that I could.
Okay. As far as for, you know, when we talk about fingerboarding, whether it's deck, obstacles, anything like that, you know, it's obviously expensive, right? Do you think that the price point for Trux was being lower than like BRTs or Dynamics? Was that a strategic thing to kind of come into the market and offer like a high quality professional product, but at a lower rate to kind of like really make your mark, or where does the pricing come from?
So when I was making when I was making these and in the later stages, you know, the whole time I've been just trying to do things different and differentiate and just kind of be unique in my own kind of way.
Yeah.
And there was room for it, so I figured, why not? Let's just do it.
I like that.
Yeah. I, you know, just put out a really, really high quality, dependable, what I feel is a really high quality, dependable product for, you know, what I think are fair prices.
Yeah. I mean, and I asked mainly because it seems like if you were to have dropped Deli trucks and you dropped them for $15, they're perceived as cheap. You know what I mean?
For 1.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like if you drop a pair of like China trucks and they're $10, right? Automatically, a lot of people will perceive them as cheap. But if you can drop China trucks and be like, yo, these are a brand new set of trucks, slap a little logo on there and they're $45, some people are going to perceive those as like higher end trucks just based on the price.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. They're in terms of hamburgers.
Yeah.
You know, there's Five Guys and
Yeah.
then there's In-N-Out.
Shout out In-N-Out.
Shout out In-N-Out. But like
Pause on the
In-N-Out,
Five Guys.
yeah, I don't like Five Guys.
Yeah, me either. Shout out Five Guys.
But you know, In-N-Out they make great stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's quick.
Yeah.
You know, you
Get right to the point.
yeah, it's a good burger and it's a fair price, and you know, everyone's happy.
I like that. Talking more about wanting to essentially stand out, you know, from these other companies and offer something a little different. Talk to me about the Kingpin design, because when I've seen stuff online in regards to your trucks, I've seen definitely tons of positive stuff. I just did a video recently on the trucks, and they're great. They're really great. But talk to me about the design for the inverted Kingpin. So the inverted Kingpin is something we've seen before, right? Mm-hmm. But not necessarily with the what is it, like a hex
head?
With a hex head. I
Yeah.
like to pause on the hex head, but as far as that design, because to be honest with you, it seems like there's kind of like mixed, like a mixed bag of like some people like the way it looks, some people feel it's a little clunky. Talk to me though about the decision to go with the hex head.
So the Kingpin was the last step in the design. I had the geometry down, but it was just down to the Kingpin. And originally it was going to be a Phillips head.
Yeah.
And
So like a standard.
yeah, standard
Kingpin.
inverted.
Okay.
But you know, again, I'm thinking, why? Like,
Yeah.
just do something a little different. And I was, you know, just driving in the car, and the original idea was that it would be like, and maybe I'm still gonna put this out. You know, a standard like a standard Kingpin.
Right.
The original idea was it was gonna be modular, so you'd be able to screw from the back,
bottom. Yeah, from the bottom up.
and then
Okay.
Put the
like a lock nut
nut
on there.
on the top.
Okay.
And then, you know, I'm thinking about the logistics of getting that done and, you know, putting pieces together. And it just mesh them.
Too. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. One thing I noticed, and I mentioned this in my video, and it's not a bad thing by any means, but I've heard other people when they review the trucks mention it, they don't come pre-assembled. Is that like something that was thought out, or just like an oversight, or because I know some people probably like that. Like to me, I didn't mind setting them up, but then again, there's also those kids that are gonna, you know, they go to the mini mart and they buy a board and they're asking Ian to grip it for them because they don't know how to do it. So, talk to me about the not pre-assembling the trucks.
Yeah. So that was until now. So now they're assembled.
Now they're pre-assembled.
Now they're assembled. And the reason for that is, you know, I figured I'm sitting there, I'm packing all this stuff in the bags. It's like I'm taking the time to do that. might as well put them together. But the original idea was that, you know, people are going to want I thought people would want their own tuning, and,
Right.
you know, people like to put them together and tinker with it. Fingerboarders like
Yeah.
to tinker. So,
No, for sure. I personally enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because I liked that I was able to sit there and kind of get them all together. But yeah, at the same time, when I think of like the kids, again, who go to the mini mart and there's, you know, they don't tighten their trucks on all the way and stuff like that, then I'm like, they kind of get them and be like, well, what's this? So it's cool. It's cool. And by the way, shout out for the soft tuning that comes with the trucks.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Thank you.
A lot of companies go with like the medium hard, and I usually have to switch it out, but it's really good tuning.
Thank you.
Let's see. If you had to, and not to put you on the spot, but I've asked Scott this, right? In regards to dynamics, if you had to try and convince someone, let's just say they were a lifelong Pro Truck user for another company, Black River Dynamic, whoever. If you had to try and sell them on why your trucks are not necessarily better, right? Because I don't want to generalize it that way, but why they should give your trucks a chance, or what, like essentially, if you had to sell someone on what your trucks bring to the table that they may be missing from other trucks, how do you sell someone on that?
I don't know. I don't really feel the need to kind of like push them down people's throats.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, people will give them a try.
Yeah.
And that, you know, everyone has their personal preferences and people will go with what they like. But, you know, I made it in a way that I would like.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the trucks speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? I think just the general consensus, it seems like the trucks are being received really well. Congrats, by the way, because that's not easy.
Yeah, it was,
you know,
it was a lot of hard work, and it's definitely been, you know, lucky along the way, but I've put a lot of time and effort into them for sure. So the fact that people are enjoying them really makes me happy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I did the video on them a couple days ago, and they really are high quality trucks.
Thank you.
They really are. And again, there's a lot of people that when new trucks hit the market, there's always that are these like generic trucks with just, you know, because you can go online and mass produce like generic trucks and just slap FB.Christopher on it and be like, yeah, these are new Pro trucks, you know, and but these are definitely not that. After using them, they're not that. This is the real deal. They're awesome trucks.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Talking about the boards, the wheels, and the trucks, what has been the most stressful to get off the ground, and what has been the most rewarding of the three? So two-part question. Of the decks, wheels, and trucks, what has been the most stressful to get off the ground? And then what has been the most rewarding out of those three?
For me, wheels were the hardest. They were the hardest. And in my opinion, wheels are the hardest thing to make and make really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, that's your point of contact with the ground. So they got to feel right. They got to have good bearing lock. The materials got to be right. And, you know, there were definitely, I was, you know, tripping and stumbling along the way when making wheels. Mm-hmm. But I just recently put out a new material that I feel really, really good about. I love the way they're performing. I mean, the people that have gotten them so far seem to really, really like them.
Yeah.
But for sure, wheels have been the hardest thing for me.
And side note here, I know you talked about having a little machine over there where you push out all the air and stuff. Are you still like pressing the bearings here and everything like that? Like,
yeah. So I'll press them, I'll lock them.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
a lot goes into it.
Yeah, a lot goes into.
Sure. What of the three products, decks, wheels, and trucks, have been the most rewarding to see really take off?
Trucks.
Yeah.
100%. By far.
Like that. Because you've been working. You said you've been working on this for about a year, since January. So we're coming up on 2 years in the making?
From the point of, you know, idea to getting the sets that are on the market, it's definitely been like 2.5 years. Yeah.
In your mind, are there any pros and cons of keeping the decks, wheels, and trucks under the same company name? Has it ever crossed your mind to do like a new company name for the wheels or a new company name for the trucks? Or like, are there any pros and cons to that in your mind?
For sure, it has come out, but or me thinking like that, I have thought about that. The biggest thing is like you've already put so much work into this one brand, and like, you know, to bring another product to the brand just strengthens that brand. So, you know, why, when you're already, you know, way up in terms of like the work ladder, you already climbed it. Why go back down and start again.
I like that. Yeah. Okay. I feel that. Yeah. Considering Deli is almost 10 years into the fingerboard game, how do you stay motivated to keep dropping new products, to kind of keep breathing that new life into the company and keeping it going? How do you stay motivated?
I just really like making things. That's it. It just comes down to, fingerboarding kind of being my creative outlet.
Okay.
And, yeah.
I like that. All right. For someone who's listening that might just be starting out, maybe just starting their own company, what is one hard lesson you learned as a business owner that you want to give them some advice to kind of ease their experience into starting their own brand?
With anything that you're doing, the hardest part is getting started. That's it. Just get started.
Get started. Do something.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep.
Being a brand owner, you probably get tons and tons of DMs. Sponsor me. Talk to me a little bit about the DMs of people asking to be sponsored, especially now with the trucks. I'm sure you're just inundated with, can I get free trucks? Can I get free wheels? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about, is that the best way to go about getting sponsored? Or in your eyes, what are some ways that people can get brands' attention, more specifically Deli's attention, if they're trying to get on the deck company or for decks or trucks? Or how is that for you?
I don't necessarily think that being a sponsored fingerboarder or whatever is, super important and should be on the forefront of fingerboarders' minds. I feel like it's more about, building relationships with riders and companies, and more of just people enjoying the product and, really getting behind what a company or a rider stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of the people that reach out for, wanting to be sponsored or, they just want free stuff, which, I get. I want free stuff too. That's lit.
Shout out free stuff.
Yeah. But it's probably not for you if you just want free stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Talk to me about the importance of having a team, or I should say importance, or maybe something that you don't find super important. There's brands that essentially don't have a team because they necessarily feel like there may maybe too many downsides. But in 2024, do you think brands can grow successfully without a team?
Definitely.
Really?
Most of the heavy lifting up until this point, I've had a team or whatever back in 2017, or, I've had riders that have sponsored, probably didn't choose the right people. No slide to anyone, but it's because I've been on and off and they've been on and off. You want someone who's
super
really
consistent,
likes your product and they love fingerboarding for fingerboarding, and they're there.
Okay, so to get the Deli sponsor, you need to love fingerboarding before you love Deli.
I just say have fun with it. I like people who have fun fingerboarding.
Do you have a team now?
I do, yeah.
Is it so when you're sponsored by Deli, is it like you're sponsored wheels, trucks, and decks, or do you have a deck team, wheel team, and truck team?
So it varies. There is FB with G, who is basically, I consider to be just Deli. And then I have the Trash Panda, and he's just trucks because he's also on. Yeah, shout out Brandon.
Yeah, he's great.
Awesome dude.
He's great.
He's also on Tech Deck, so I didn't want to I don't.
Yeah.
Tech Decks.
Yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
sick.
Yeah.
Tech Deck with some Deli trucks.
Yeah, so he's trucks and wheels, and then I'm Manny. I just shot Manny a DM. He's gonna be
no way.
Trucks.
You shot him the official DM?
Yeah.
Shout out Big Manny.
Yeah.
Shout out Manny. That's pretty sick, dude. I have some questions from the internet, and 2 people asked when Manny was going to be on. So I like that exclusive.
He'll be on soon.
All right. I love that. Are we going to get any, or you know what? Here's a question for you. Would you ever consider yourself pro for Deli? Would we ever see a pro Deli deck with Sydney's name on it?
I don't think people want something that says Sydney on it.
But what do you, any thoughts though on other brands making themselves pro?
Yeah, no, that's cool. If that's what they feel like they should do, then yeah. But I don't know. I don't think that I'd be a very good representative for the company.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate the honesty. Any chance for some more Deli gear down the line as far as stuff we haven't seen already? Maybe Deli obstacles, Deli merch. Any plans for that in the future?
So the next thing is riser pads and board rails. So yeah, I'm That's my next thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then
I feel like we need good riser pads because Tech Deck had the solid ones a couple years ago, and now a lot of them are 3D printed, which is cool.
Yeah.
But man, figuring out how to get those like little Tech Deck ones, that'd be sick. Yeah. I like that. Where do you see Deli in the next 5 years, or where do you hope to see Deli in the next 5 years?
I have no clue. I'm just going with the flow. Wherever it goes, that's where I go.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. So we've talked about Deli. We've talked about your skateboard past, your fingerboard past. I want to talk to you a couple questions now in regards to yourself as a fingerboarder. Just a couple questions here. Do you personally, Sydney, have any current sponsors? No. Dream sponsors?
Deli Decks, if they're interested. I don't know.
You know the owner.
Yeah, no. I'm not really. I don't think that I would be a very good sponsoree.
You got my phone? We're almost getting there, Jake. Go ahead.
What's that?
You don't think you'd be a good sponsoring?
I don't know. I mean, I do my best, obviously, but I'm not very outward and, out and about. I sit here in my underwear in my garage making toy skateboards, and that's what my day-to-day looks like right now.
I was just telling Jake, the image of you sitting in here, just like sauna-like in the chonies working on the computer, we're going to have to commit that to memory real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake already wrote that. He already wrote that in. Who are some of your biggest supporters with Deli, like over the past couple of years?
Definitely my parents and my girlfriend.
That's sick.
Yeah, I'm really, really lucky.
Heck yeah. Have a good support system?
Yeah.
That's the best. And may I ask, do you do Deli full-time, aside from obviously school?
Yeah, so I just graduated a few months ago, and I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's run with it.
Yep.
I like that. All right. As long as you've been fingerboarding, how do you keep it fresh? Like, how do you not get burned out with fingerboarding?
I do. If it was just fingerboarding, I don't think I'd still last. Like, kind of like video games. I could sit there for hours and hours and hours, and it just doesn't feel like, for me to feel like I'm doing something good, I got to be making something. Okay. So the creative aspect has definitely carried me through, the 10 years or whatever it's been. Then that's been a huge help.
It's a decade.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
What are you currently listening to? What's your go-to music when you're in here working in the chonies? What's your go-to music?
I believe in versatility of music. So I'll listen to, like Doris Day and Ella Fitzgerald and like the oldies, and I'll be listening to like, Fred again. I mean, I believe in the full range of music.
Really? I'm going to put you to the test.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
Oh, okay. You got me there.
No Taylor Swift?
Not really Taylor. I appreciate and I like her music, but off the dome, I don't have any. I couldn't tell you any of her songs.
I like that. Pause off the dome, but yeah, for sure. Taylor Swift is. Yeah. She's great. What's your go-to flat ground trick?
Oh.
On a fingerboard?
I like a good just switch flip. Simple.
Like simple?
Simple.
Nah, it's at least like a 2, maybe 3 try trick for me. I like that.
Yeah.
Gotta get warmed up. Maybe first try after 3 tries.
Yeah.
So I like that. All right. We got questions from the internet. Okay. And the way we're going to do these questions from the internet is like this. Just for the sake of time, we're not looking for crazy long answers. I'm going to weed out some of the questions that we've already covered in the pod. Okay. But we're looking for maybe just a couple word, real quick answers.
Sure.
You ready to rattle these off?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First person says, and this is a lot of people, when are we getting 29 millimeter trucks?
It's going to be a spooky release.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Sounds good.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. When are we going to get colored hangers, more specifically black hangers?
So I'm right now working on raw, and the raw is going to kind of be how I do color, and it'll be painted. So got to have a nice surface for the paint to be sitting on.
I like that. Yeah. Fully assembled, how much does a Deli truck weigh?
I think, and I may be totally wrong, I think it's 3 grams. I don't have the most accurate gram scale.
I like that. Someone says, ordered trucks the other day, still haven't got shipping. And I'm not asking when their order's going out, but more specifically, just drive the point home. It's just you setting up the trucks.
It is just me.
Just you.
Yeah. It's tough. It's brutal out here, especially when you're in your underwear in here and it's really hot. But yeah, my thing is 2 to 5 business days. It'll be scanned into the system, or at least dropped off at the post office. Once it's in their hands, I don't really have much control over.
I like
over
that.
their stuff.
Someone says, when are we going to get another collab? So we've seen the Chems collab, we've seen the Poly collab. I think you've done one with Mild, right?
Yeah, that was
way
ages ago. Yeah.
When are we going to get another collab?
I don't know.
Any in the future? Any planned out? You don't have to spoil it, but any planned out?
I got some really, really special trucks planned for 10-year anniversary, and maybe I know that she asked Brandon, but maybe with teak or tuning, maybe with teak bushings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe some Jake PFB new pro bushings that just dropped.
Maybe.
Shout out Jake PFB. Any chance for adding colored hardware to Deli's website?
I haven't thought about that. That's a really cool idea. Maybe.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Favorite deli meat?
Favorite deli meat? Either salami or roast beef.
Dude, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see, a couple more here. Someone says, when are we going to see Manny GFB added onto the team?
Official announcement, hopefully within the next few weeks.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do one or two more. Someone says, didn't realize he was local. Why doesn't he come to any local events?
College and working here in my underwear.
Yeah, working in the underwear.
Yeah.
I like that. We may have to just, after the pod, just strip down to the underwear just to get the full effect.
Yeah.
Just kill the fan, get in the chonies, set up some trucks. That'd be cool. Maybe for the vlog, set up a pair of trucks. Dude, that'd be sick. All right, last one. How do you decide? I think we covered this actually, but how do you decide what trucks are, what size trucks are going to come out next? More specifically, this person wants to know when they're going to get 36 mil trucks.
So for me, it's about, there's a lot of money that goes into developing a product like this. So it was, what is going to make the most people happy and what do most people ride. So that's why I kind of led with 32 and 34, and like all the, infrastructure or whatever for 29 and 36 are there. I just haven't actually, had them produced.
I like that.
Yeah. So.
All right. Next, what we're going to do, if it's cool with you, we're going to do some no nuance takes. So I'm just going to give you 2 words, and as quickly as you can, you just pick one. We're not going to discuss it. We're just going to move on.
You're going to give me 2 words.
2
pick
words.
One of the 2 words.
Yeah, I'm going to say red or blue. You just say red. Then
Gotcha.
we move on.
All right.
No nuance, no skips.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
California, New York.
California.
Los Angeles County, Orange County.
Orange County.
Ooh, I like that. Bougie. Dynamic or Black River Trucks.
Dynamic.
Fingerboarding or skateboarding.
Fingerboarding.
TikTok or Instagram.
Instagram. Fuck TikTok. Oh.
No, cool.
I don't like TikTok.
Fuck TikTok.
I hate TikTok.
There you go. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
All right. Kickflip, heel flip.
Kickflip.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
I like that.
Yeah.
We have one more question.
Sure.
Are you ready for this?
I hope so.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
Slush God, Mike Schneider, Jake PFB. Go.
Oh, okay, so I'm not really the kind to like tap before I know you.
Oh,
So,
a gentleman.
I mean, like the only person I had met before today was.
Oh, you're looking at Jake.
Was Clayton.
Okay.
So I gotta say, I mean, I think Clayton. Fuck. And
Wait. Just to be clear, you're gonna beat cheeks with Clay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then who are you marrying?
I mean, dude, you're a great looking guy. It's just that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like. We haven't met before.
Yeah, you got. I mean,
Yeah.
you look good. Okay. So what are we doing with Jake? So we're smashing Clay. Okay. Shout out Clay.
Mm-hmm.
He's thick.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it going on.
Yep.
What are we doing with Jake? We putting him 6 feet under, or are we gonna make an honest woman
I
out
don't
of him?
know. How could you kill Mike Schneider?
Oh, dude.
don't know.
Everyone's
Like,
killed
this
Mike
is-
Schneider.
Everyone's killed Mike.
Everyone's killed Mike pretty much. I think one person said they smash him, but that's maybe not. Maybe not. Actually, now that I think about it, I think everyone said they killed him. Shout out Mike though.
All
He's a
right.
good sport about it.
Yeah. So I'd marry Jake just so
Marry
that we
Jake.
could get to know each other a little
Okay.
better.
So we're smashing Clay, marrying Jake. Go ahead and say it.
And then by elimination,
default.
yeah, Mike. Yeah. I mean, but he,
Shout out Mike.
fingerboarding is Mike.
Yeah.
He made this.
Shout out
in
Mike.
the U.S.
He's a good
so,
sport.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that he was like cool with the whole like everyone killing him. So
Yeah.
I made sure to reach out and just let him know it's all in good fun. Shout out Mike.
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry,
I
Mike.
No hard feelings.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. Shout out Mike. Sydney, my friend, Deli Decks. We have made it to the end of your Bigspin podcast. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Where can people find you online?
DeliDecksUSA.com.
I love that. I love that you put USA in there.
Patriotic, why not?
Holy shit. Way to end the podcast on just like a super like patriotic note. I love that. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bigspin
for having me.
Podcast.